Hello to the OSCON Speaker Selection Committee. My name is Tom Scanlon. I'm an employee at the Software Engineering Institute at Carnegie Mellon University. I'm submitting an application this year to talk about the use of open source software in government settings, particularly the federal government. As I mentioned in my application packet, I have presented at some conferences the last couple of years. However, all the recordings from those conferences are protected by some type of member wall or paywall, so I can't give you a link to them. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you a sample recording as you requested of your very own. So as I mentioned, what I'd like to talk about is how you can use open source in government projects. The federal government in particular has long been resistant on using open source on their projects. They cite concerns about reliability, quality, and security. As I've worked for over a decade in government projects, I've been an advocate of the benefits of open source. So I'd like to present and enable other people to become advocates as they work on government projects. I'm going to talk about the policies, the policy changes the last few years that do allow for use of open source. I'm going to talk about tips and techniques for getting approval to use things beyond policy. So the policy will help you write justifications to use open source. Then you still have to deal with things like RMF, the Risk Management Framework, getting ATOs, authorities to operate in government settings, how you can get those approvals, how you can get products on the approved product list that different government entities have. Then I'm going to talk about some of the resources available once you actually get into open source development in the government. There are libraries and resources, development resources available to actually make you productive with open source. And then finally, I would like to talk about a case study that I worked on a couple of years ago with the Department of Homeland Security, where we actually got an open source solution in at the enterprise level against some commercial products. The open source proved the most beneficial. We got it deployed. It's in use today, so I'm going to talk about that. And the goal of this presentation is to create advocates for other folks who work on government projects, whether you work for the government or you as a contractor, third party, work on government projects, how we can help let the government take advantage of the cost savings and the quality benefits that you get from open source software. So I have a lot more about this subject that I'd like to talk about. I look forward to speaking about it at the conference. This is just a sample recording. Please feel free to follow up with me if you need anything more. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you.